Hello, Taurus. Mara here with Daughter of Wind Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So this is a general reading for the collective of Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Jupiter, and Venus. I have been led to switch up my decks a little bit, so it's going to be a little different. Yeah, just going to get a couple of Mystical Shaman Oracle cards, possibly bring in my good tarot and just kind of riff off of that, okay? All right. Oh, if you have any questions on how to watch Daughter of Tarot, what is my name? What's my channel name? Who am I? Daughter of Wind Tarot. I've got a link that's going to be up here in about 30 seconds, or you can go downstairs and hit the link down there, okay? All right, so this deck is a little intense, super creative, super beautiful. It's got a lot of intense messages in there. Just took a break. I did a Leo and Aries, and I just felt like I was yelling at them the whole time. I wouldn't say yelling, just passionate. Oh gosh, passionate. Is it just passionate kiss? No, I wasn't kissing them passionately. Kisses of verbal love. All right, let's see what we've got for you. Bull gang, Taurus. All right, let's see here. What have you got for my collective of Taurus? Ooh, I haven't seen that card before. Earthkeeper. Okay, Sweat Lodge upside down. We're in reverse. Smoky Mirror. Oh yeah, no, I'm not reading those out of the. I'm reading one out of the book and then going off the rest of these. Anything else? Anything else for Taurus? All right, I have like different rules for different decks, and I do read these in reverse. But the first one I'm reading off, and then the rest of them I'm kind of just looking at intuitively. So should be fun. Let's see what we get, Taurus. Ah. Ooh, really interesting. Okay, so first up we have Earthkeeper. Okay, so I'll read that one off and then we'll just jump off and see what we've got. The Sweat Lodge. It looks like an eyeball right there, doesn't it? Or a piggy bank sideways in the dark on the moon. The Smoky Mirror. The Sun, which I'll agree with. One of my favorite readers, Santero, she's like, that's just the strangest sun ever. It looks like it's blocking the sun versus being the sun, yeah. And Taming the Wind. Hello, Daughter of Wind. There's no taming me. All right, let's see here. Earthkeeper, what is your message for us? It did come in the upright, so I'm going to read the invitation versus the medicine. All right, Earthkeeper. The essence. Just as you're involved in co-creating your world, you are also responsible for its well-being. The Earthkeepers are dedicated to the stewardship of the earth and all life. They choose to hold the sacred dream of a planet where all beings live in peace and where the rivers and air are clean. Remember that everything you do has an impact for 7 generations. You've outgrown your small dream of success and achievement and are ready to dream big with possibilities beyond your wildest expectations. Take on the mantle of the Earthkeeper and reach out to a friend in need who you may not have been in touch with for some time. Take care of your pets and feed the strays that come by. Clean up your yard, as this is a reflection of your relationship with the earth. Grow the sacred dream, and your personal life will flourish. Remember, it's not about me any longer. Wow, that's a little intense. That's a little intense. Okay. So, I didn't know we were going into an ecological... You know, what I feel like that says for me is, you know, it's saying, you know, clean up your yard, make your bed, clean up yourself, you know, how we present ourselves to the world. I just remember when I got married, I had always, first of all, to be fair, I've grown up, a lot of different places. My, grandparents were farmers, out in the country, into the city, but I'd never gone anywhere. Like, I'd always gone to church. Like, it was either church or home, and like out in the, but dressing appropriately. And when I met my ex-husband, his family had come, like, live way out in the country forever, and like things were just a little more formal, like going to the grocery store in sweatpants and stuff like that. And that was just something like I was really uncomfortable with. And when we come from one place, from one extreme to the other, I actually really appreciated the that the value I got from being with him, because I learned that I didn't have to have my makeup on and a church dress on and everything like that to leave the house. It was okay to be casual but still presentable, right? As a flight attendant, I feel like they took it a bit much, but we're in front of the public. But makeup, mascara, blush, lipstick, all of that was required, and so I take a lot of pride in my appearance when I go out. But I think it's more about how we present ourselves, not necessarily in like the money, the amount of money that we spend on our clothes or whatever, but that things are neat and tidy. And for me, I'm finding that being neat and tidy, which is something I just never, my mom made me clean. My mom was just a little overbearing with some of that stuff. She comes from a third world country, so she's doing the best she has with the information she has, but definitely took things to an extreme. And then I went, got involved or went places where people took it to the other extreme, where they just push, anyways. So we all have to have everything in moderation, but I think also what it might be saying here not only is taking it from, yes, let's clean up the earth and recycle and all that other good stuff, but to take pride in who we are and how we present ourselves to the world, because it is a reflection of our inner world. They say take a look at your room, and the state of your bedroom is the state of your mind. And I never really got that. I was like, okay, whatever. But it's absolutely true. Once I started cleaning out the clutter of my mind and getting still, and I hate the word stillness. I am a Gemini rising, Sagittarius cusp. Like, I like to go, 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 go. Don't tell me to be still. Don't tell me to be patient. It's just not in my nature. And what I didn't realize is I use that as an excuse, though, is don't tell me. I'm gonna move fast. That's just the way it is. I don't need to slow down. That's just how I roll. But it's not really saying that. You can still be on fire, and you can still move forward, and you can still have a lot of momentum. But there's also, a place for being careful and stepping carefully. And I think it's more of, instead of putting your head down and moving forward blindly into things, it's making sure that your head's up, that you're using your intuition, that you're checking your gut, and that you're also coming out into the world and presenting yourself to the world in more of a place where you look put together, right? And when I say put together, I'm not saying the nail and the hairs, whatever it is for you. It's an energetic putting together. It's how, I have a lot of people that ask, how did you become a flight attendant? What do you wear? There's all these things. What do you wear to a flight attendant? And, you got to look like it. You got to look the part. You got to wear the suit. You have to wear a scarf and, wear red and blue and all these other things. What are they looking for? What they're looking for is your unique signature, your unique energetic signature of, it doesn't matter necessarily what you're wearing, or whether you can afford an expensive suit or something that looks like a flight attendant dress or whatever. They're looking for the essence of a flight attendant, how you carry yourself, how do you speak, how do you treat other people, right? How do you treat, like when you go to the Delta interview, it's not like when you get to the interview and you're like, hi, how are you? And you're, in front of a bunch of, 100 HR people that are staring you down and looking at what you're wearing. It starts from when you step foot in the airport and how you, even to the point where there's ticket agents or baggage agents, they're looking at how you treated your Uber driver. I mean, I feel like some people would say that's taking it too far, but as soon as you step onto that property and you start dealing with the baggage claims, the ticket agents, everything like that, they are all watching you to see how you conduct yourself and how you treat people, what you consider maybe someone, the ticket, like they're not the person that's going to be hiring me, right? So I don't necessarily have to treat them. Haven't you ever been on a date and look at how the person treats, like the service staff? I was in the restaurant business for 20 years. I don't care how much money you make. How do you treat people? I've had people, I've gone to the grocery store and started bagging my own groceries, and they slap my hand away and say, no, that's what their job is. That's how much they get paid to bag your groceries. Excuse me? And you're getting on me because I just want to help my fellow man and like get the heck out of there and maybe bag my own groceries because I like the way I bag them. But beyond that, regardless, it's how do you treat the people around you? How do you treat yourself? How do you show up in a relationship? How do you show up when you go out and you go to not just the job interview, but when no one else is looking, right? And I'm not just talking about how you treat other people. Literally, how do you treat yourself? I was just talking about this with Leo, a lot of times we spend a lot of people caring about what other people think, doing all these things. My dad was one of those people. He cared more about how people thought of him. He would go and he would crawl into somebody else's sink at their house at a dinner party and fix their sink, but he wouldn't do it for us at our own house because it was how, yes, he wanted to be helpful, but he wouldn't do it for himself. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but, we are here to try and share our stories with each other. And I know, there's a lot of, I'm not going to even say readers, because a lot of readers don't talk about themselves. We don't come out and be, we're afraid, on the internet, we don't want people to have details, but me telling you about my experience with my parents and that's vulnerability. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from and the lessons I've had to learn in the different positions I've been, be it in the restaurant business and being on the other end of somebody being rude to me. It's not about that, like, oh, somebody was rude to me and now I'm just going to put everybody a blast on the internet. It's not that at all. It's how we conduct ourselves within our own environment, how we treat ourselves. I don't care whether you're making your bed, but are you making an effort when you wake up to make sure that when you leave, you're leaving it a little better than when you left, so that when you come back, you feel good about yourself and you feel like, I'm doing something for myself, right? I'm eating healthier, what have you. And so here I feel like the sweat lodge is all about going inside and purging, right? You go inside the sweat lodge and you sweat and you get all the toxins in. What are the toxins that are in your body right now, right? I know right now, for the next week, my face is going to be completely broken out because I've eaten like a half a container of Hershey's Kisses that somebody has had. I don't buy chocolate for myself, but I damn sure will eat it if it's there. And that's why I don't keep it in my house. But I'm in somebody else's house right now, and I haven't been able to, and I can't help myself. Like, I've decided no, because I started to break out a little bit. I'm like, okay, but I enjoyed it. But I knew the consequences of it, right? And now I'm fleshing my system out and drinking the tea. I'm talking to you about it. I knew what the consequences are, but a lot of times people just do the things and then say, oh, there weren't any consequences. Well, what are the consequences of not tidying up, your room when you get up in the morning? Just to make this very simple, is like by Friday, it compounds itself. And then it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, well, I got to do it this weekend, but I'm so tired because I worked all week and I deserve to go out and have a good time, blah, blah, blah. Then you come back, you throw your clothes Friday night, Saturday night. Next thing you know, it's Monday and now you have a pile on the floor versus where it was just a mound. You have 3 loads of laundry to do versus 1. And then we feel overloaded. And then we feel like, oh my gosh, it's too much. I can't do it. Or the dishes in the sink. One leads to many. Then we feel the overwhelm. Then we start talking badly to ourselves. Then we start hearing our parents in our head saying, that's the way you always do, and blah, blah, blah. Or people come over and all of a sudden you're like, I got to do this. And, and you're shoving dishes in your freaking closet. I did that in my 20s. Like, people were coming over and I was so embarrassed of how, and it was just crazy. And it's because I didn't take responsibility and pride in myself and who I was. So going into the sweat lodge, going in, taking a look outside, looking at your environment and saying, how do I present myself, not only to other people, but to myself? Am I being loyal to myself? Am I taking care of me? Because only when I can take care of me can I take care of someone else. And a lot of times, I see the smoky mirror, us being a mirror, people mirroring us, I definitely know that I can be a mirror to other people. A lot of people don't, but I've done the work. I know that a lot of people, when I've gone into restaurants, they have no idea. I know I look a lot younger than I am, but I've gone into restaurants where I came from high functioning, really not necessarily upscale, some low scale, whatever it is, but places where we took I've worked for some amazing managers that were hardcore, like crumb Nazi, like just do the work. They would follow behind you, and then all of a sudden I got on the West Coast, to be perfectly honest with you, not to say anything badly, but it feels like there's just been like a whole different kind of work ethic type of thing out here. Like, no offense to West Coast, or just my experience, I should say, in Arizona, where and I've worked at a couple restaurants out here where it's been the how high can you dance and jump or whatever for the customers, but what we do behind the scenes doesn't really matter unless you're in a place where there's an open kitchen. And even I worked at a place where there's an open kitchen and they were still disgusting. And it's like, how can you not, that's why everybody's freaking out when the health department comes, where before we were like, oh yeah, wipe here, because we knew we had our stuff taken care of, because we were just in a place where the health inspectors were so bored they'd come 3 times a quarter. exaggerating again, but still, it's kind of like that thing, people coming over your house and pushing things under the bed and this, that, and the other, and then you have this sense of shame. You don't want anybody going into that bathroom. You can go in that bathroom. So what I'm talking about is clearing your energetic field so that, you know, we can, when people do mirror us, again, sorry, jumping back to the whole mirror thing, is, you know, I realized when I went in there, I was a bit of a mirror, and I wouldn't tell people, oh, we need to do this and no, we do that. That's not how I rolled. I've always led by example because that's how I was taught. And so I would just go in there and do it. And a lot of people don't like that because I'm mirroring back to them what they're not doing, right? And a lot of people feel really uncomfortable. But we can't walk up to people and say, hi, I'm your mirror. You're doing this and I'm not doing that. Because again, like I've been talking a lot. So Taurus and Leo is like also, you know, an alpha doesn't go in and say I'm an alpha. The way you know an alpha is because you can feel that they're an alpha without them saying a word because they lead by example. They don't talk, they do. That's why I don't take people, a man, a woman, a female, a child, a boss, whatever it is. I do not listen to the words that come out of their mouth. How do they treat people? How do you treat people? What do you do? Not what do you say? Right? And that's how we have to take people. When somebody shows you who they are, you need to believe them. So if you've got somebody who's spitting game at you all day long, oh yeah, but they're a good lay and this, that, and yeah, well then that's great. That's where they take pride. They may take pride in the bedroom and be able to lick you up and down and all this other good stuff. But how do they treat their family? How do they treat themselves when they go home? How do they treat their body and their vessel that God has put, you know, God, source, universe, whatever you believe in has put us on here? How do you treat yourself? So is your mirror smoky? Right? Can you barely see your reflection? Do you barely know who you are? Or is that clear? Are you able to look yourself in the face? Look in the face and say, I know who you are, I know who I am, and this is how I present myself to the world. And again, if you can't, that's what when we're talking about dealing with your shadow side, right? This is what we're talking about. You're like, what do you mean? I've got to work on my shadow side and this, that, and the other. It's embracing the light and the dark, but you can't embrace it and you can't integrate it until you actually look at it and you actually address it, which means that you have to take responsibility for your own actions. And that's why I feel here, like with this this message here in the sun is there, right? The sun is shining on you. I was just listening to Queen Cup. She's freaking amazing. Sometimes I can't listen to her because sometimes she hurts my feelings. Sometimes I got to click off and be like, she just told me about myself. And I'm not, like, I don't even want to face that right now because it's just, she's spinning it out at you, right? But here I feel the sun is always there. So anyways, I was listening to her, I think it was her Gemini reading, where she's talking about, you know, some people believe in past lives or not or whatever. But that there are so many people here, we are put on earth that we have a wealth signature about us. A lot of these, you know, I come from a generation, my parents were both, first world, they both came from different countries and came here. First generation, right, Americans, absorbed in, you know, got their, anyways, needs to say, but they came with a lot of, you know, coming over on boats and whatever you call it or whatever, like this generational ancestral mindset of poverty, and there's a pride. Yes, there's a pride there coming to America and making shit happen, but also there's also this mentality of I'll never have as much as the people that were born here and they have it so lucky and they this, and yes we do, but having that mentality and passing it down is always coming from like we are fighting the man and never like I am a wealthy person inside and out and I deserve wealth to come to me. So I feel like a lot of us feel like we want more money and we want the bigger things, and the sun is shining right here. The sun is shining right here, but we have this poverty mentality, this conscious you know, cityscape in our mind that everything is difficult and everything the hard. The sun is shining here, but we have all these filters that we put on top. Like I have to get to this point in order to be abundant. I have to have this certain amount of money in the bank account or whatever to be abundant. You know, and then you get stripped down. Life will strip you down. It feels like the sun is getting darker. I got stripped down with my health. I couldn't walk for 9.5 months. I couldn't eat solid food for almost 2 years because I was so stressed out that I was just, my esophagus was going, was like destroyed from throwing up. And like, I mean, just really, really bad. And now it's all because I realized I didn't know that I was an empath and all this other stuff and that I internalized everything and that I was sick. And I've been doing this since I was little. So my health completely, and I blew up. I was almost 300 pounds. And it was all because I was just stuffing things inside, right? We come into this world bright and untouched, and then we have these blemishes and our light gets a little darker and a little darker. And we turn ourselves, look at this, we turn our heads away from the sun because we can't even look the people that, you know, the people that we look up to, what have you, we feel like we can't even measure up to them. And that's what she was talking about, poverty consciousness. There's a lot of people hear that, you know, you get around wealthy people and you're like, yeah, and you're a person just like me. Just because you have more coin in your pocket doesn't mean that you're any better than me. And she's like, you know, we're coming from places where we were wealthy in other lives, and that we don't worship, you know, we don't sun worship these people that have more than us, because a lot of us realize like that has nothing. I know that right now I could be considered penniless, but I am so rich in blessings and inside, because I know who I am. I know what I have to offer the world, and I didn't know that about myself a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even 6 months ago, probably 6 months ago going through. And I damn sure wasn't able to speak about it. I damn sure wouldn't be able to go and talk to into somebody's face and say, that's really what you think about it? That's fine. But this is who I know. I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know what I stand for, and I know what my values are. And I can actually speak them. I can't just say, oh, that's just who I am, girl, and this, that, and the other. No, I can spell it out for you. You know why? Because I live it. But I did the work, and it was hard, and I cried a lot, and I freaking... It was not awesome. I'm not saying that this is an easy process to turn ourselves back into the sun, right? To turn our faces back to the sun. It's not necessarily an easy process, but it's absolutely something we can do, which is almost, there's this really great deck by Brian Froud. I picked it up because I was watching Adelina Bond, her channel Mana, which is amazing. It's now deleted because of all the crazy stuff, but there's this card called the Undressing of the Salad, right? And that's what I feel like this is, the taming of the wind, right? There's all this momentum, there's all this stuff, there's social media and everything like that, and politics that are just blowing our hair back, right? How do we tame ourselves? How do we get control of ourselves and how we present in this world when we have all of this stuff blowing in our face, right? Blowing our hair back. And it's finding stillness, right? It's finding stillness. Taming the wind is taming the wind inside. And how do we begin that is, again, that stillness, you know, be patient, whatever, stillness, and, you know, oh, just cleaning my room or whatever it is. It's not about that. It's turning off the television for a little bit and reading a book. That's how we nurture ourselves. Finding a time and space in the day where we do something that nourishes our soul. Because the more we nourish our soul, then we start, it's not about like, I'm going to buckle down and make my bed every day. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's doing the inner work, not just getting a self-help book. I'm literally saying just pick up a book that with paper on it that's not on your screen, and take some time to declutterify your life with the electronics and everything like that, and spend some time with yourself, because that's going to spark. You're like, oh, well, you know what? I feel a little better maybe like when I actually do pick up around me, because I want to stretch my legs when I read and I got so much stuff on my bed. It begats. Like, I don't know if you ever read the Bible, but it's like, I think in Matthew, and he's like, or the beginning of the New Testament, and it's like somebody begats, it's all talking about generational and lineage and stuff like that. But it really is pushing over that one domino and doing something for yourself, that you're going to be able to tame the wind within yourself. And again, it doesn't have to be a book, but what are the things that you used to do and that you used to love, you know, like dancing? Well, you can't dance in a shitty, messed up room. Start with where you are, right? Start with your front yard. Start with your damn toilet seat. Start with your shower. Stop putting the hairballs on it. Wipe it down and feel good every time you step in there, right? Little things like that, because it's just going to like, oh, well, maybe I'll just wipe this up or whatever. Or maybe I'll put this away when I actually do my laundry. Those little things are going to snowball into huge effects into your life. That's how we start. That's how we change. That's how we tame our own wind. So thank you so much. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. Oh, it's Taurus. It's Taurus. Thank you for joining me. Is it? Yeah. I hope I said your name at the beginning. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Blessings, and I hope to see you next time. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, just comment, like, and subscribe. If you don't have any great comments, just don't bother. Just pretend you liked it. Spare my feelings. No, I care less, all right? See you later, babe. I don't know why I called you babe, but I guess I'm not gonna, yeah. I'm not justifying. You're my babe. My babes. My bull babes. I'm so weird right now. All right, bye.